Alright, so I'm going to be opening up and disassembling this DELL Inspiron 15556. So the customer broke the screen, and then they also wanted me to replace the battery. So yeah, I'm going to be replacing the screen and the battery. Alright, so first thing you're going to need, you might need a pry tool and then possibly tweezers, but I doubt it. But we're going to go ahead and get a PH or JIS1 screwdriver, and we're going to remove all the screws from the bottom here. Alright, so just go ahead, remove these screws, keep them in order. So if you see this pattern, you want to put them in that pattern on your desk just to keep track of the screws, because there are a lot of screws. They can be different size, shape, and lengths, and if you put the wrong screws in the wrong place, you can actually damage the computer. Okay, there's a missing screw there, so I was wondering why nothing was coming out. Okay. Alright, so just undo all these screws on the bottom. Again, keep track of the screws because they are different size, shapes, and lengths. There's a bunch of shorter screws and then longer screws. Right now, these two screws were a lot shorter, but again, it's always a good idea, it's always a good practice to put back the same screws where you got them from. Okay, looks like there's another 2 screws missing here. I don't know why these screws are missing. It looks like they might have opened it before, because I do see a screw underneath inside here. So that's a problem with these repairs I do. They are customer laptops, and I don't know what the customer did to them, so if anything doesn't look right or doesn't match up, just keep that in mind, that this is a customer's computer, and they could have moved everything around. Alright, so here we're going to pull out the CD drive. I just use my fingernail and slide it along here as I pull it, and it comes out just like that. Alright, it looks like there should be 3 screws under here, but it looks like 2 are missing. So again, I don't know, somebody opened this up already, it looks like, but I had to switch to a PH0 or JIS0 screwdriver to remove these screws. Okay. Alright, and I don't know, these 2 screws don't seem to want to come out, so we'll remove them as I pull the cover up, and then they should come out. Okay, so these are good. Okay, let's see here. Alright, so now that we got all those screws out, let's open this up. We might have to remove the keyboard. No, this model doesn't have a removable separate keyboard, at least not from the top. So what we're going to do is we'll go along the gap here. I use my fingernails there, and what I do, you can use a pry tool, but the way I do it is I get my fingernails in that gap, and then I use my thumbs on the back to push on it. And as you can see, the cover just pops off just like that. Okay, when you open it and close this, you want to do it carefully because the hinges are missing the 2 screws now in the corners, and if you open it too quickly, you can actually damage those hinges. Okay, so now let's try and lift this up. Alright, let's see here. Okay, the hinges on this side are having trouble, so we're gonna, or the clips, so we're gonna go on this side and lift it up manually, just like that. Okay, let's see if it's going to come up now. So here we can lift the whole, oh, that clip, this plastic is all breaking. I'm going to use some super glue and hold that, but it does have the screws, so we'll use that anyways. It pops up just like that. Looks like the screw mounts on these 2 are actually broken, and that's why the screws weren't coming out. Okay, but anyways, this is what the inside looks like. Man, so this thing got damaged pretty bad. Alright, so smashed, the screen is smashed, and then, oh, let me set this aside over here. Alright, so here you can see there's actually 2 slots for RAM. I don't know what yours looks like inside, you'll want to check. They're only using 1 slot here. So again, the customer opened this already, so for all I know, they could have removed things. So here's 8 gig PC4 2400T. So if you want to replace it, you can get another 8 gig stick PC4 2400T. Or you can get 2 16 gigs if you want, but usually 16 gigs already with two 8 gig sticks will already be more than enough. So anyways, I'm gonna clean the dust out of here and then I'll be back. All right. All right, I'm back. So I cleaned that out. Let me see if I can figure out which screws were put in wrong here. So I put this cover on here. Then we got, okay, so I only see one right now that's messed up. So this one screw, we're gonna remove that. That should have come out with the case. So I'm gonna take this screw out. Okay. All right, so we're gonna remove the battery first. So we did go over the RAM. Oh, sorry, there's also the SSD here, or the hard drive. So it looks like the customer replaced the hard drive with an SSD, and that's why all these screws were messed up. But anyways, we're gonna remove the battery. So first, let's remove this connector here for this USB port board. They must have mixed up some screws here too, because that thing is wiggling around, and okay, I guess that screw will hold it there. Okay, so let's lift up this connector here. Once you lift that latch up, you can actually pull this out. I don't know if there used to be adhesive or anything. It doesn't feel like it, but again, somebody worked on this before, so yeah. And then as far as replacing the hard drive goes, this is a 2.5-inch SATA. They upgraded it to a 2.5-inch SATA SSD here. I'm going to remove this just to make it easier to replace the battery, but anyways, we'll pull this latch up as well, and we'll take this out. So there's 4 screws holding the hard drive in place, so we're going to take those 4 screws out. Alright. I don't plan to take everything else. Oh, I guess there's only 3 screws, so this one doesn't have a screw. So I don't know, again, if the customer lost any screws, or if there used to be. Maybe there's one on the other side. So yeah, if yours looks different, just keep that in mind. Again, a customer opened this already and I don't know what they did to it. So yeah. All right, now we'll lift up this. This is the hard drive, or the SSD, and you can see this is like a little caddy bracket thing that if you replace the drive, you want to transfer this over. 4 screws, 2 on each side. And then this bracket, you want to be careful moving it. I like to use my fingernail to kind of pull it out like this, and then you can kind of usually get a gap. So let's see on this one, but basically you just pry under, there you go, and then you can get this adapter out. You want to be careful because this cable is fragile, but there we go. That's how you would remove that, and then you would just put this on the new drive. Anyways, I'm going to set that aside. The main purpose of this is to replace the battery and also replace the screen. So when you go to replace the battery and screen, let me make sure these screws are tight for the hinges, because if they come loose, they can actually get damaged pretty bad. So one thing I recommend doing, oh, I thought I took that stuff out. I guess I didn't. Okay. So what I'm going to do for these hinges, I'm going to add some red Loctite or thread locker. And this will hold the hinges a lot better, because if those come loose, it can actually damage the entire hinge mechanism down here. Those plastic screw mounts will break, and then the hinge will actually no longer hold the laptop screen properly. So it's always good. I always like to put this red thread locker stuff on these screws just to make sure that they hold a lot better. Okay. And be careful because this LCD connector is here. Okay, so just tighten that up. Make sure those hinge screws are nice. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, you just need a tiny bit. Alright. Screw back there. And tighten it up. Alright, I'm not going to show how to remove all the other components because I don't want to risk damaging things, and when the only thing the customer needed was the screen replacement. I am going to remove the wireless card bracket just because it's getting in the way to remove this one screw, or at least I just loosened it. Okay. Again, I add the red thread locker to make sure that these screws don't come back out. Okay, there we go. Make sure that the wireless card is lined back up. If you want to know how to remove the wireless cards, you can watch my other videos. Almost every laptop has the same wireless card setup, and I'll show it on some of them. So yeah. Alright, so we'll set that aside. Okay, so here you can see the optical disk drive or the CD drive connector. Here you can see there's, I believe this is probably the trackpad, or it might be just this LED board up here. You got the keyboard backlight connector, keyboard connector, and then this might be the trackpad if this is the keyboard backlight. And you got the CMOS or the BIOS battery here, and then the speaker connector here. Alright, and then you also got the power button connector going here, which I don't see where it's going. It runs underneath the motherboard. So, yeah. Might be connected on the other side, or maybe it runs all the way down to here. I don't know. Alright, so you got the LCD LVDS connector. We are going to remove the battery, because if you're going to change the screen out, you actually want to remove the battery and press and hold the power button to drain any power to prevent any damage to the screen or the backlight circuit. Alright, so we're going to remove this metal bracket here. I see 2 screws holding that down. Set that aside. Okay, and it looks like we can pull the battery up now. Okay. The battery doesn't look that bad, so I don't know why they want to replace it, but they asked me to, so we're going to do that. Alright, so you can see the battery comes up like this. To remove it, this part comes out on both sides, but what I do, if I can, if this connector here, which it seems like it does, it has a lip, so what I do, let me try and keep that stable, is I use my fingernails and I kind of just wiggle the connector like that, and there you go. You see it comes out pretty easily. Okay, so now we're going to transfer over. It looks like someone replaced this battery before as well. I don't think this is the original DELL. They actually put a sticker over it because I guess it's not a DELL battery either. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to remove this connector here. So let's see how I can pull on that. Okay, there's not really much area to grab on this, so I'm going to see if I can show it. I'm going to move the laptop out of the way, put that there. Alright, so if you can grab from the top, you should try and do that, but it looks like there's not really much area to grab here. So let me see what the original battery or the other battery looks like. Okay, so the replacement battery, it's like this. It doesn't have that cable, so we have to find a way to pull this out. We might have to just yank on the cable itself. Yep, okay, so, oops, sorry. So what I did, I just grabbed as close as I can to the connector, pinch it, and then kind of just wiggle it like this, and you can see the connector just comes out. Alright, so we're going to get the replacement battery, and then we'll just line it up, push that back in, make sure it goes in all the way. Alright, we'll set that aside for now. Okay, let's zoom out. Okay, so what you want to do after you disconnect the battery, okay, let me zoom out some more. You want to carefully open up the laptop. Okay, again, the hinge screws aren't holding as strong because we took it apart, so make sure not to open it too quick. Alright, then press and hold the power button for 10 to 15 seconds. This will drain any power to prevent damaging the computer when you go ahead and remove the screen. The speaker just fell out, so I'm putting that back in right now. Okay. Alright, so that should be long enough. Why the speaker? Oh, the screw mount is broken, so the speaker is going to probably keep falling out. Let me see. I'm going to put the bottom cover on for now, just to make it so it doesn't fall all over everywhere. So I'm not going to put it on completely, but I'm just going to put it there to kind of be a placeholder. Okay, so now I'm going to put the computer down like this, and then to replace the screen, what you do, let me get this broken junk out. Okay, so what you want to do is you get your fingernails or pry tools under the center here, and we kind of already pulled this up so the clips aren't as strong, but you pull up from the center and then you kind of pull the whole bracket into the middle of the screen. So let me see if I can get a good view. It's hard to show this. Let's see here. So just like this, pull the center of the brackets up, just like that, okay? And you can hear all the clips are popping out. Okay, so hopefully you get the idea. Just do this all the way around. Okay, put this down. Alright, once you get to the bottom part here, it's a little bit trickier, but you basically same thing. You just pull this out. Here the thing clips a snap. Okay. And then you kind of lift it. If this piece doesn't come out, what you do is you close the screen slightly. Okay. And then in the middle here, okay, hopefully you can see this, but I get my fingernails or pry tool in between this plastic piece, and you can pop these clips out. Oops, where's it? There we go. So you can see you can pop those clips out just like that. Okay, so I'm going to open this back up again slowly. Okay, now that we pop those clips out, we should be able to lift this up. There we go. All right, and then there's 4 screws holding the screen in place. Let me see if I can show this. Okay, so we're going to remove those 4 screws. Again, remember that disconnect the battery and then press and hold the power button for 10 to 15 seconds. All right, now we're going to take these 4 screws out. Alright, so now we got those 4 screws out. We're going to tip the screen forward. This is going to not really show up in camera very well, but basically you just pull the screen forward. I use the metal tabs here to help pull it forward. Alright, lay it down, and then we're going to peel up this adhesive here. You want to check your screen's model number. You don't have to do the battery thing unless you're disconnecting this cable. So if you're checking your screen to replace it, make sure just pull your screen out, check the back. You have these model numbers here. This one's LP156WHU TPA1, but make sure to check yours because it might be different. All right, so I'm going to peel this all the way back. Let's try and zoom in some here. Okay, so I peeled that off, and then we're going to use the wings of the connector. All right, actually this one has a metal bracket, so lift this metal bracket up, okay, or the latch, and then you can actually use the bottom parts of the metal latch to kind of help pull the connector back just like that. Okay, we're going to take this screen and set it aside. When you buy screens and you look up the model number like here, usually you'll get a compatible part number. It won't always be the exact same replacement, so keep that in mind. I think this one they sent like a compatible model. It doesn't have, as you can see, the brand name of this is BOE, which is another major screen manufacturer. And then this one is made by, they don't even, oh, it's LG display. Okay, so this is another very common screen manufacturer. There's like several actually. Okay, so we'll get this in here. Okay, get the screen pins lined up, and then use this metal bracket to help pull it in place, or the latch. Okay, again, you want to use the bottom of the bracket to help pull it. Make sure it goes in completely. This bracket's kind of nice because you know you did it right if you can actually snap the metal bracket back down. Okay, so there we go. Then you can use the tape, kind of pull it a little bit and then tape it down. If the tape doesn't stick, you can use another piece of tape on top of it to hold that in place. All right, anyways, that's that. We're gonna put the screen back up. All right, just flip it back up. And then we're gonna put back the 4 screws. So, all right, let's see here. Lean it back here. Zoom in a little bit. Okay. Sure you get the idea. Get those 4 screws, tighten them down, and we're gonna test this before we put the metal or the plastic frame bracket back on the bezel. Okay. Just gonna get all 4 screws back in. And this has a protective layer on top. You want to leave that until you confirm that it's working in case you need to return the part. Okay. I don't know if these screws will be loose at all. They are actually. So I'm actually going to tighten up these hinge screws with some thread locker as well, because it looks like those are coming out. And if those break, then they can actually, you can have bad damage in your screen hinges. So very important. Make sure that these screws are all nice and tight. Okay. It looks like there's only 2 screws on each side here that are holding the actual hinge to the frame. So yeah, see, this screw is like super loose. I don't think this one holds the hinge to the frame, but I'll tighten that one as well. Okay. Alright, let's tighten this one as well. I don't know if that one actually helps hold the regular hinge. Might as well, just to be safe. Okay, do the other side. Yeah, these screws are really easy to turn, which can be dangerous if it's not fixed. A lot of times the hinge mounts break, which is made of plastic, so it's good to have them nice and tight. When those screws become loose, what happens is the hinge, it starts wobbling, and then when you open and close it, it's like a prying motion that rips out the plastic mounts because there's too much leverage. Okay, so we're gonna close the screen now. I'm gonna flip it over, take this back off. Okay, I probably won't actually put super glue for this piece. I'll just put the screw in, that should hold it well. Alright, so we're gonna get the new battery. Make sure to get the cable out of the way. Alright, we're gonna put the battery there. We're gonna plug this connector. Actually, let's plug the hard drive back in first because it's underneath. Okay. Oh, let me see. Okay, there we go. Hard drive back in. Get the connector lined up. Alright. Come on, go in. Just like that. Make sure it's lined up. Put the latch down. Get the other cable. Get that in as well. Okay. Oops. Put that in place. Put the latch down. Alright, then we're going to put back the 3 screws. We'll put back the bracket, the metal bracket here. Alright, put back the 2 screws. Looks like there was a screw here as well, but again, the customer worked on this and it looks like they lost those, so I can't really do anything about that. There's some dust in here. Let me get that out. Alright, so now that we got all of that back together, what we're gonna do, don't forget to reconnect the battery. I like to pinch the two layers together, but the optical disk drive thing is in the way, so I'll get my one finger under here and use that to kind of help push it forward while I push the connector in. Okay, now we're gonna put the cover back on here. We can actually clip all of this back in place. Okay, to be safe, I'm gonna put the two corner screws because those hold the hinges in, so I'm gonna put those to make sure that the hinges have more leverage. Okay, if you want, actually, I think this little one might also be for the hinge as well. But that should be good enough. So let's see, some models require you to plug it back in to power it up before you turn it on. So we'll see if that's the case with this one. Let's get the CD drive back. I'm going to put this plastic piece back in place if I can. Let's see, does it go that way or this? Okay, it goes. Sorry. I'm just trying to figure out how to put this plastic piece back in. There we go. Let's switch back to the pH0. Alright. Okay, let's put the CD drive back in, and then let's see if it'll turn on, or if we need the charger. So we'll put this back, and clip all of these back in place. Okay, let's open this up slowly. Make sure all these clips look good. Let's see if it powers on, or I think I need the charger. Okay, so let me plug the charger in. Yep. This one looks like it needs the charger on the first boot. So let's move some stuff out of the way. Let me grab my charger here. Okay. Got too many chargers on my desk. Need to find a way to keep this more organized. Alright, so let's get the charger. I'll plug this in. Okay, let's power it up. The power light is on, so hopefully, okay, here we go. The screen is on, and it looks good. I saw the DELL logo. Let's see if it's going to start completely, and it's loading Windows, so now you can actually peel this thing off. Okay. Oh, there we go. So peel that up. Set that aside. Alright, so it looks like we are good. It actually started, and it's charging. I don't know what the percentage of the battery is, but one good way to check, so let me restart the computer. So restart the computer. Oh, it's not touchscreen, okay. And then while the computer's booting up, you want to press F2. If it's actually restarting, come on. There we go. The keyboard backlight just turned off, so keep pressing F2. Assuming it is restarting. Nope. Okay, let's turn it back on. F2. Alright, so let's see here. So it started up. We'll go to battery information right here. Okay, click that. Here you can see charging, excellent. I'm using a 130 watt AC adapter, and then the battery percentage right now is 1%. So I'm going to let it charge more before I actually go ahead and unplug the charging cable. I had one screw. Oh yeah, that one screw was the one that was falling out. Okay, so let me clean out some more dust from here. Okay, so now what we're going to do, let's close this up. I'm going to leave it charging for now because I want to make sure that it's actually charging up. Okay, and then we're going to put back these screws. We had this one random screw was missing. Let's see. Oh, no wonder why they put it under. I think they had a screw that this is too short. Okay, I guess they misplaced the screws and then they put the wrong one there. So I'm going to put this shorter screw in this bottom corner since it will actually reach. And then we're going to use the longer screw that they had and put that in the right spot here. Okay. This is one of the reasons why it's kind of tough to work on other people's computers, because you never know if they mix something up and then it's harder to know. So hopefully this video will still be useful to you guys, and hopefully you'll be able to figure out the screw situation. Again, you want to keep the screws in order, yeah, because you can see I just showed, as you just saw, how it can cause some issues if you got the screws mixed up. Alright, the other small screw here, this screw here, and we got these last two. I'm going to put one here because they are missing some more screws. I'm going to put one there and then one on this side. Okay. And then all these screws here, the thing is stripped, so I actually can't do anything with them, but it lets me tighten them because the plastic gets caught, so we'll just tighten those up. Alright, so, oops, I was using the smaller screwdriver. Let me use the other one so I can tighten them better. Alright, I'm just tightening up all the screws. Alright, so we're good to go. Let's put back the bracket and also check if the battery percentage changed at all. Hopefully it did. Okay, it's showing 3% now, so should be able to unplug this in theory. Okay, it's staying on, that's good. So we're going to plug that back in. I'm going to turn off the computer. And now we're going to go ahead and put back the plastic frame. So go here, just drop the frame in place, okay. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. So what we do, we drop the frame in there. Usually this top part is a lot easier to clip in. Just push on the back here and then roll over to the center. So just like this, just like that. Okay, top. And then it should hopefully pop in the rest just like that. Okay, just like this. There we go. Alright, and then for the bottom, you want to hold on the back while you're kind of pressing, and you want to clip those in place. Okay, just like that. And then you want to check down here. It's a little bit tricky to do this, but what I do is I close it up, and then you can check here and you can kind of clip it this way. Hopefully it goes easily. It actually went pretty nicely there. And if you have these corner clips, I actually just squeeze the corners and it closed on its own. Sometimes it doesn't do that, and then you have to use like a little pry tool or something in between to help put some pressure on it. Okay, so it looks like that clipped on its own and we are good to go. We'll turn it on one more time, double check everything looks good. Alright, and it looks good. Alright, so hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, like, subscribe, help others find my videos, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!